And we don't know what's going to happen because Harry also said to Otto, we got to upgrade the suits because Tony Stark was able to just tap on it and freaking deactivate the helmet and everything. So who knows? Something might
Let
happen with
Otto
his upgrades to the
tinker.
suit.
Let him
Yeah.
tinker. Do it.
Right.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Let him fucking cook.
Hey, what's going on, you lovely people? It's your boy Roliver Queen. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing good. And as you can see here, I'm joined by my lovely, scrumptious, sexy, handsome, and flavorful as fuck homeboys. Fellas, please reintroduce yourselves to the channel, starting with Dr. Ben.
Yes, me. So I am Dr. Ben, one of the Ranger Command Power Hour Squadron. Invited here by Ro so we can talk some Ultimates and look forward.
All right. Go ahead, Mark.
Not a Dr. Mark. I read comics and I'm not really on a council or a part of any teams.
Yes, you are, dude. You're on my live streams every couple.
I know.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm reading the digital version of Spider-Man 8 right now. I'm definitely reading Ultimate Spider-Man issue 8 right now.
Yeah. Oh, wait, they're only up to 7? No, they're up to 8. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. This is what happens. I don't like this one. I don't keep track. I just show up once a month.
You buy more than you pay attention. I get it. Yeah.
And then
oh shit! What's happening over there?
I don't know. Probably a fire because everything's on fire in California right now. It's hot.
Tremendous.
It's hot as hell over here too. But yeah, y'all. So we are back. Me and Mark did Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1. So we decided to bring Ben on board so we could do like.
You didn't decide. I invaded. Basically, I said, hold on a second. You guys talked about Ultimate Spider-Man without me. My friend, there's a whole universe. You just don't know it yet. And we've got a lot to talk about.
Yep. So Ben is now on board, for our, I guess you could say, like 7-month follow-up. Let's not waste any more time and let's jump right in. So we'll start off with initial thoughts. So it's been a couple months since issue 1. So fellas, how are we feeling about Ultimate Spider-Man 7 months in?
This is a Spider-Man where he has been told that he had potential and he was going to be the best that there could be, and it was taken from him. And now it's basically reclaiming your future. That is the key theme of the Ultimate Universe, reclaiming your future and reclaiming your history, reclaiming your origin, and taking it back. And so it's really interesting seeing an aged, I guess around our age, in his Peter Parker in his 30s. And he's working at the Daily Bugle with his uncle who's alive. And J. Jonah Jameson, and all of a sudden, those two, Uncle Ben and J. Jonah, they decide to splinter off, do their own thing. But you also start seeing pieces of the universe at large being seeded. You see that Kingpin is not just the normal Kingpin; he's the Kingpin that controls the media, basically.
Yeah.
And so you sort of start to get a sense of like what this universe is, and all the issues that are surrounding it, and why Peter Parker now has to become Spider-Man, and why he feels that something is wrong with his universe and he needs to become Spider-Man, not just for his family but also for his universe. So I think it's just really interesting how it's sort of like we're getting the different beats. We got the intro in issue 1. Issue 2, we see him get into a scuffle for the very first time with Shocker. And, we get to see him like crack jokes and stuff. And sort of like, it's that classic Spider-Man humor where the Shocker is just sort of like, oh, I got to go take care of something. Okay, dude, no problem. Bam. Like, I love that shit. And like, I never could have imagined Hickman writing a street level book. Everything that, like, I was never a major Hickman fan. Because I think it's too much big talk.
Too high concept for
Too
me.
high concept for me. But somehow he is brought down to earth.
Yeah.
And this is like a little bit more like, this is just such a charming Spider-Man book because you have the backdrop of a world that was taken from you.
Yeah.
I know it probably sounds like I'm rambling. We don't have a script here, but that is the long and short of how I see this book. And in one of the things that I also really love is whenever we get introduced to like a different universe that introduces characters that we the audience are familiar with, we get to see a different interpretation. And then we're just sort of like waiting for a shoe to drop. So there was that dinner with Norman Osborn and his wife, Gwen.
Ooh,
What?
Yes.
So,
but we'll get into that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts. So we're going to get
initial
into
thoughts?
Initial thoughts, homie.
This is the best new book of the year. This is it. This is the thing. It's at 8th printing right now. Come on. I don't need to sell it to you. Like, it is a killer book. At first glance, though, I will tell you that it takes place kind of in real time, where each issue corresponds to like a month of like what's going on. I was a little worried that it was going to be like a little jarring, maybe a little less action. And like, look, the story is the most important thing, but I thought that the book would suffer because of it. It doesn't.
No.
It finds different ways of sort of like fixing that problem of feeling like we're moving too fast. And Mark is probably realizing that right now as he's reading issue number 8. But
you got no proof.
Yeah. And you said it earlier. And then basically, yeah, no, it's a great book. I can't say enough good things about it.
All right, Mark, what about you?
The last 7 issues, there's my initial thoughts. It's so far removed from, like, we have recognizable characters: Harry Osborn, J. Jonah Jameson. I mean, the main thing, Ben Parker's alive, but a lot of familiar faces. But their characteristics, like, it's totally different, and I do like this older Peter Parker who's already matured into an adult, then getting the powers, compared to being high school student, bit of powers. How do you juggle, midterms and this stuff and fight? No, now it's like, I have a wife, a career, kids. My uncle and his best friend are trying to get me to go work with them and change careers. Like, in the most recent, I have a 401k. I have a family. It's like this is the Peter Parker in the comic for the older adults, and not mature in the R-rated sense, mature in the characteristics in the life that they have going on.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we don't get that often in comics. Like, this is a Peter Parker where outside of the kids, it's like, I can relate to that. This is like, I'm the same. I have my career, I have my wife, but it's like, if I realistically was going to go fight crime, like,
look, the main line Amazing Spider-Man is dealing with, like, and for the past several years, it's been dealing with adult Peter Parker trying to pay bills. No, but here's the difference, though. This book is dealing with Peter Parker with kids, married, paying bills and all that, and then gets bit by the spider. And by choice. And it's sort of like, it sort of upends everything that he's sort of doing.
Yeah. It's like I said before, it's just, it's taking what we know and just flipping it on its head as many ways as possible. And it
gives us the great power with great responsibility thing, but not with Uncle Ben. It gives it, like, we're getting that story.
Harry.
Yeah. Well, we get it with Harry, but we also get something from Iron Lad at the very beginning. As well. And so I just think it's really interesting. It's compelling.
Yeah. And, my initial thoughts for me, what I like mostly about it is just like, I am following some of the Marvel stuff, not too much. I'm talking mainline, but for me, I like the idea of this universe kind of like growing into itself. It's like a baby, and you're watching like that baby grow, but you still have some familiarity from what may have happened before. And every single month, even as recent as this last issue, it's just like this is cool. Like little by little, it's building. Yes, I'm introduced to characters that I have some familiarity with, but they're new takes on the character. And like even like I said, we'll get into like the juicy stuff later, but like knowing that this early in this new universe that I have something to look forward to, which we will get into later, that's fucking dope. It's like me as a kid jumping into comics for the first time. Like so that's how the last like 7 months have felt. Like, and again, this is the first time I'm feeling that since I started reading comic books back in 2016. So for me to get that feeling again in 2024, that's fucking amazing. Like Hickman is doing this thing, and I'm reading Ultimate Black Panther as well. Hill is doing this thing. So for me to get that really in both of these comic books is fucking amazing. I really fucking love it. But we talked initial thoughts. So now let's get into the juicy shit, like some of the big changes that we had. Somebody mentioned Gwen Stacy. Seeing Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn together, that shit shouldn't work, but for some strange fucking reason, it does. They
Seeing
mesh
Otto
well with it.
Octavius be like
Right.
Harry's right hand.
That's
like
crazy.
the thing that that reminds me of like the Spider-Man video game, where it's like you're waiting for that heel turn
For the
where
turn.
Peter Parker is like working with Otto and and it's just so like when that game was coming out, they were like, we don't want to reveal who the villain is. In fact, the collector's edition, don't even open up the statue until you've beaten the game. Like just like that sort of thing. Like I remember Insomniac Games like saying that shit. Yeah. And like when I got the collector's edition, there was like a little slip of paper that said like, caution, this statue contains spoilers. Do not like open it until you finish the game or get to a certain point. And it was just so crazy. And like then you turn on the game and you see it's Otto Octavius is like Peter's mentor. And you're just like, oh God, like you have that sort of apprehension. And that is that apprehension that you have when you're reading this book. So you have that apprehension of like, wait, Gwen is here. Okay. When is her neck going to snap? And then, well, maybe you're not.
No, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, that could be the catalyst of the Green Goblin turning into a villain.
Yes. And then you have Doc Ock or Otto Octavius being there, and you're like, oh, God, he's
Before we get into Otto, while we're still on Harry, though, we got the iconic Spider-Man Ben Parker line from Harry.
I peeped that I was reading today. That was crazy.
That threw me off. I was like, he's the level-headed, he's the response. Like, this man's downfall is going to be great.
He's saying the line. That doesn't mean that he is the responsible one.
Well, think about it from this standpoint. He said flat out, because he told Gwen knows about him being Goblin, and he even said, you should tell Mary Jane, like, it's going to be tough for you to keep that as a secret. That's not so. Realistically, he was kind of being a nice little positive guiding light for him, except for the whole keeping Bullseye in his basement and torturing him and hiding it from everybody. But other than that, I mean, he's been a good positive character.
Can I say it? Can I say it?
Say it.
I don't trust this motherfucker. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. Like he's shady as fuck. Like,
let's go with this. I don't think, just in like humanity, if we're getting like big talk about it, Hickman, there is no such thing as good people and bad people. There are good things and bad things.
Hey, I am a good person. What do you? Never mind.
I
can't that statement.
The reason I say that is because I'm kind of like, I don't want to say hot and cold on Harry, because it's like if he does go full heel, which I think he does,
He's
this
gonna
is
go
one of
full
the,
heel.
this is
His
one of
last
the rare,
issue sort of like planted a tiny
Yeah,
seed.
I just finished
Yeah,
8,
you
and I
just
was like,
got to it.
that one
But-
line, "Where am I on the list?" And he's
Right,
like, "You're not on the
exactly.
list."
but the reason
He's like, "But
why
keep hanging out with him."
Yeah.
the reason why I support it is because it's like almost everything that's happened in his life has forced him to that. Like
Right.
it's forced him. His pops and moms got murked. He finds out he's not that high on the list, and and everything else that's
He's
happened.
not
It's like
even on the list.
he wasn't on the list, so it's just like it's different. Versus, I feel like it's different than the Harry that I know personally. It's just almost like the circumstances
I wanna
him to that.
I want to correct something though, because you said
What's
this
up?
about May, and I'm now going to correct it about Emily Osborne. We don't know if they were murdered. They're trapped in the city. They were caught in the blast in the city.
Oh,
We
see,
don't-
the
we
ultimate.
don't-
That's
Because
what,
they
that's
even
what
said
you're here for.
allegedly. Didn't they say
That's what
possibly
you're here for.
allegedly murdered or
Yes,
allegedly
yes.
died? They never said
so,
they flat
so
out.
yes, so actually, in Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1, there was a chyron at the bottom of like one of the news like articles or whatever, and it did
Mhm.
say like somebody allegedly blah, like Emily Osborne allegedly murdered blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we don't know if they're dead.
Okay, all right.
In fact, I would hazard and say it might actually be worse for it might make Harry even more of a villain if his mother's alive. Like right?
Mm. So yeah, like I said, it's if I'm looking at it objectively, which is something people don't really do these days. If I'm looking at it objectively and he goes full heel, I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
No, great, cool.
Like
I think it would make for a great story if it did, because the way him and Parker are right now.
Yeah,
and like what I do like also is just like, yes, we did say something. This is the main universe, but like flip on its head. Like somebody like Fisk, like I'm sorry, there's no Fisk is gonna be Fisk. And even as late as the last issue, like he got the Sinister Six that's pop. Fisk is gonna be Fisk, and that's what I kind of like about it. Some things they just stay the same.
Yeah,
I like that.
I wanna talk a little bit about the latest issue.
Let's do it.
Now it's a little bit more fresh.
Very
Did you
fresh.
finish it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
That last page, I was like, okay.
There's a few things that we get in this. First of all, the orb that Tony Stark gave to Spider-Man that contains the suit starts to talk to him. And you see a little smile. It's Venom, right?
Yeah, it has to be like
Yeah.
a tech version of the symbiote.
A tech version of the symbiote. Or did Stark use alien tech to make the Pico? Right? I don't
Even
know
more
what he used.
foreshadowing. He was in a black suit in the first issue.
Right,
before
yes.
he even got it. So
Yes.
it's like there's so much foreshadowing to that, and I was like, you can't have. I'm sorry, as much as we talked before we recorded about how much I dislike the whole symbiote stuff. You need a good Spider-Man story will always have a good way to have Venom in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because not
And
just Venom
also-
as a character, the symbiote itself is such a good character development part for every
Or
Peter
Peter
Parker story
Parker.
there's been.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
He's an
even
important
like,
device for Parker.
and even
Yeah.
I think it was the second or third issue when they were like swapping suits. Remember, like the second Venom suit that they had, like it was like the Sony Spider-Man suit, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't even peep that because I only read issue 8 once. But that's a little interesting tidbit then. Oh, all right then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of concerned because when it was talking to him, I was like, wait a minute. I thought you could only talk if Peter has the suit on.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here?
Then he pulled the
So-
whole, it's in your head. And it's like, is it? Like,
It's-
I was like, there's
Uh
a lot of
well,
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm kind of scared now. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
now you got what's his name? You got Norman Osborn, who's talking in Harry's suit, which is probably gonna push him even more. Like I was kind of
Yeah.
scared when him and Peter were going at it in that last issue
Yep.
because it almost
Yeah.
seemed like he's about to kill homeboy.
Yeah. He was he was he was pulling his punches a little bit less than he should have.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And then Peter was just like, "Yeah, homie got some daddy issues. He got to work out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
And we don't know what's going to happen because Harry also said to Otto, we got to upgrade the suits because Tony Stark was able to just tap on it and freaking deactivate the helmet and everything. So who knows? Something might happen
Let
with
Otto
his upgrades to the
tinker.
suit.
Let him tinker. Do it.
Right?
let him cook. Let him cook.
Let him fucking cook.
Like there's a lot that can be and the thing is, if they don't do it, it's not going to make it a less of a good story. Like it's not going to finish the story, but it's like it's one of those things where it's like there's so much stuff where it's like reading these, it's like, man, I hope they do this, or that'd be cool if they did this.
Well, let me actually go further with that. I actually, most of the time, don't want to be right. Yeah. Because if I'm right, then that means that the writer is not smarter than me. And I want the writer to be smarter than me.
That's valid.
Every time I'm right, it just adds to like a coin in the jar. And when that jar is full, it's like, I should just write a comic book.
Right.
Buy some Hot Toys with those coins. No. So there's two more big things that I consider one of them to be big. It's a conversation between Tony and Peter. I want to get to that in a little bit because that actually connects more towards a grander thing. Let's talk a little bit about the end. The Sinister Six.
Oh man.
The new version.
Now I read the solicits. I knew and there was a press release where they first revealed the cover of what the Sinister Six was going to be. So I knew who the Sinister Six was going to be. I knew that it was going to be Mr. Negative. I knew that it was going to be Mr. Hardy.
Yep.
I knew that it was going to be Mysteria. Craven.
Oh man.
And Mole Man.
That threw me off. I was like, you
gotta have a wild card, man.
That's like just inviting some street level thug into Batman's rogue gallery. Like,
fine.
But wasn't there a comment about him being reckless or something? Like he's kind of like one of them is just like they're kind of here for like their own personal gain.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was Mole Man or whatever, but
I think it might have been Mole Man.
Yeah,
he was more of a wild card. He was the final page reveal.
Yeah. Like what I like about this, because I'll be honest with you, like I said, my knowledge on Spider-Man is very minimal. The only ones I really recognized was Mysterio and Craven. Like the others, not so much. But even so, like the descriptions that they gave while they were introducing the characters, I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting bunch.
Yeah.
Like this Sinister Six is going to be some problems.
Well, outside of like, unless you didn't play the Spider-Man Insomniac games, like Martin Lee, Mr. Negative really isn't like, oh, I know who that is. Like regular day-to-day people who aren't like, who's this? Because I do believe he was an original character for the first Spider-Man video game.
No,
and now
he was in Dan Slott's run.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't.
He was part of Brand New Day. He was part of actually not just Slott. He was Slott's creation, but he was introduced in Brand New Day.
So that was around what?
2006.
Yeah.
Okay, because that was the earlier 600s of
2008.
And I'll actually let me say this also. While we're here, here's what I appreciate about Ultimate Spider-Man. Right, this doesn't have to be action every single fucking issue. Like even the moments where it's majority just like talking, I think that's a testament to just any good writer. Because for me, if the action is the dialogue, you got it, homie. You got it. Like when they were just having the dinner with Peter, Mary Jane, Harry, and Gwen. That was good.
Right.
Even in this fucking
I felt the
last
tension.
issue.
I felt the tension. Yeah.
Even in this last issue there was little to no action, but it's the fucking dialogue, homie. Like that's good writing. You don't need to do boom, bam, bop. If anything, when you're good at carrying the dialogue with the issue, it just makes the action issues that much better.
That's what I was gonna say. Like when we got the Kingpin fight with Peter and Harry,
Yeah.
that was good. I was like, and then even I do say it was kind of weird when they like in the earlier issues when they were doing like the flashback stuff when you got to see like after the shocker and stuff, and it was like, and then they were going back. Oh, here's the conversation Peter and Harry had at the bar that one time right after. Like, oh, let's have a drink, and when they, and I was like, okay, I'm glad it doesn't jump around like that as much now, and everything's kind of like Ben said, real time. Because I was like, if you're only a few issues in, I really don't like the Ultimates is where we can deal with flashbacks and stuff like that. Like, I need to know what's currently like. I think they could have easily said, "Oh, let's go have a drink at the bar." Then you could have went to them having a drink. But I do appreciate that they skipped it and then went back to it because it kind of felt like it would have been filler in that moment.
Yeah.
But the action when they do have it is really good. Also, like when they don't show a lot of the action, like we didn't see full-fledged Harry freaking, torturing Bullseye.
Yeah.
But I would like a more explanation of what the exo suit thing that's on him is. I would also like to know Kingpin's tattoo artist and what he genetically enhanced on himself.
And also, I want to touch on a point that you brought up about how like they kind of do like the bouncing back too. Because again, I just finished reading all of these. I think there's cases where it works, and I think the way Hickman does is like very strategic because it's like remember the fight with Peter and Shocker, right? I like that we didn't find out till like maybe 2 or 3 issues later. Oh, Harry also beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
After Shocker them beat the fuck up out of Peter like 2 or 3 times.
Right.
So like it's cool. Like I get it. I don't think not every writer can do the bouncing back thing. But again, I like it because it serves the story. It adds to it. And that issue alone, I believe it was mainly a Harry focused issue. That's when we found out everything that happened, with his pops and moms and all that.
Yeah.
So again, it's just
kind of a lot of flashbacks for him.
Yeah. So I like that. It's really cool.
No, Hickman handles that stuff really well. I mean, obviously, if anyone read House and Powers of X into his X-Men run, like he knows how to like. That's why when Hickman was announced that he was doing, Ultimate Spider-Man and kind of, overseeing that stuff, I was like, good, because like he brought X-Men back, and I don't care about X-Men. I never really have ever outside of the movies. And Hickman's run was so good, and when his name was attached, I added Ultimate Spider-Man to my pull list just because it was Hickman.
Yeah,
because I was like, whenever he gets to start something fresh with a character, it's always good. It's just who picks up the ball after that. Because I'm not gonna lie, X-Men after Hickman left, kind of it fell off.
You know what I like? I like that you brought this up. I like that you brought this up, and I think I might have touched on it last time when me and you spoke. I like that Hickman has his own little playground to play with, but I also like that he's brought on key creatives to help branch out this universe. Like, you have Hill on Ultimate Black Panther. You have Peach Momoko, who's doing Ultimate X-Men. And then you have, I keep forgetting his homie who's doing the Ultimate. Denise Camp. I wasn't familiar with Denise Camp, but I like that, they were brought on. And it's almost like they're getting to grow and, like
build. They're getting to
build under him as well. It's cool.
I thought it was really interesting that Hickman built the universe. Ultimate Invasion and Ultimate Universe issue number 1. But then he decided to not write Ultimates. He decided to focus on the street level book. That was really interesting.
I thought, if anything, he was going to be the one on the Ultimates book.
I thought he was going to be on Ultimates. Yeah, I was really surprised it wasn't him. But he's like, I guess he still has the blueprint, so to speak. The Spider-Man book is going to be like the Spider-Man book, and Ultimates are going to be the hallmark of this universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the anchor of it.
Yeah, those are the anchors, and we're building towards something, which we'll get to shortly. But
I also want to what I like about this too. Hickman's not on social media.
Yeah,
he's not on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. I think he pieced out of Twitter early in the X-Men run. Yes. But we mentioned that we thought he'd be the one writing Ultimates, but I like the fact that homie who's writing Ultimates This dude is doing his own fucking promo for that book, and it's working so well. Because Hickman, yes, obviously, because we know it's Hickman, it would still move units. But like this guy, who I don't know too much of, it's almost like he's kind of like trolling his way into sales, and it's fucking great. It's almost like a new way to get people to get into the book. Because like it's like, hey guys, if you want to find out how Tony Stark is like Doctor Doom, yeah, read my book. Does he touch upon that? I don't know. But the fact that he's like he's using that method to like boost a book that's very important, and he's essentially a writer that's not as big as Hickman. I like that. That's cool. That's fun. That's how you get more people into comic books, like trolling or memeing your way into people reading your shit. I like that. I don't know if it was planned, or I don't know if that's the way the guy just is, but good on you, homie. Good on you.
With that said, do we want to touch upon
Ben, take it over.
In Ultimate Spider-Man 8, Iron Lad meets Spider-Man now as Spider-Man and Green Goblin.
Are you a hero yet?
Yeah. Are you a hero yet? Like, what the fuck, man? What's going on?
Yeah.
And he sees like, okay, he's getting some good licks in and everything like that, and he's getting like, he's training with a buddy, Harry Osborn. Cool.
Ooh.
With Otto in the background. Jesus. And
he's like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah. And Iron Lad is just like, all right, so you've got, like, we're working towards something here. Like, the Maker is coming back in a little over a year. That's how much time you have.
Where we at?
I'll see you later.
I like these progress check-ins.
I like them too.
He comes back in, he's like, why are you in all black now?
Yeah.
And why are you talking in like saying we and this and that? It's like, oh, he's Venom now. Oops.
Yeah. So while they are doing progress checks, we are going to do progress checks.
Yes, we are.
I went to the gym today, took a shower, had a thought. If the Ultimates and Spider-Man and Black Panther and X-Men, which we sadly did not get a chance to talk about today, are all moving month to month, and they're hurtling towards a very specific point of when the Maker returns, why shouldn't we as well? So, in an effort to get Row to 1,000 subs, we are going to start a monthly discussion. Ultimate Countdown.
Yes.
We will be checking in with all of the Ultimate books,
yep,
which includes the Ultimates, Ultimate Spider-Man, X-Men, and Black Panther.
Yep.
Along with any sort of one-shots, such as
yep,
the year one that will be released, I believe, in November.
Mm-hmm.
This will be starting soon, and basically, essentially, we for that month, we will cover that month's
yep,
Ultimate book that was released for that month. And
this panel may have one more person.
So just like the Ultimate Universe that is expanding, we will be expanding.
We'll be expanding. Yep. I'm excited mainly because this is going to force me in a good way to stay consistent, stay up to date with all the books. Like if I know, like at the end of every single month, I was like, yo, I got to be on top of it.
You got a countdown. You got a countdown now.
I have a countdown now. So you
got to stay off Twitter. You have to you got to put that away, and now you get to read books.
I just have to read books.
That's a different joke than what I was gonna make, but I'm not gonna make that.
No, make the joke. No, you make the joke.
TOS, okay.
But yeah, so this is something I'm willing to try my best to commit at. I'm interested in reading what's happening in Ultimate X-Men. Well, it's gonna be for all of us pretty much because it's gonna have all of us as like pretty much reading all the books this entire time.
I will say,
what's up
with Ultimate X-Men? You gotta be open minded to the art style. If I like, because I've only read the first two and I just peeked at issue 5 and I was like, okay, it's still the same art style. Like I don't hate that style. It's just
So
different for an X-Men comic.
One of the things that we kind of talked about before we actually started recording was we kind of want to have some of us be have some expertise in some of the books, whereas some of us maybe like might falter a little bit. And guess what? Our conversation helps us understand it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like, look, I remember when Power Rangers, when the Power Rangers comic came out, and I started with issue 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I just sort of fell off. I was too busy with medical school. I couldn't read like all of that and everything that I was already reading before Power Rangers came out. But then they announced Shattered Grid, and then I went back and I did the hardcovers, and I got excited again. Yeah. So look, yes, Mark, what you're saying about X-Men, Ultimate X-Men, keeping an open mind. Look, if it works for me, great. If it doesn't, you're the sucker that has decided.
What I just realized is
to be the expert on it.
Well, I just realized Peach Momoko is doing the writing and the artwork on this comic.
Yes,
both. So I was like, you know what, like that's a daunting task for anybody.
It is a daunting.
Very rarely is there anyone who does that, and the story is good. Now I kind of like figuring that out. I kind of have more appreciation for it because like not only are you focusing on telling a good story, now you don't get to just give it to someone else and have them put it on the page. You're also trying to take your thoughts, put it on the page, make it work, and have it. So it's like.
And speaking of art, we didn't really talk about the art for the Ultimate Universe or for Spider-Man, but like
we can get into that in a little bit.
I have nothing else to say other than just top notch.
Yeah.
Wait,
let me touch on Mark's point and then we'll get to the art. What I like about this also is just like, let's just get this out the way. I'm a sales guy, even though I haven't done the sales stuff in a while. Like, it is a testament to damn near all of these books. I think all of them at this point. Like, let's look at this right here. I picked up Ultimate X-Men #1 just randomly because I went to a shop and I can't leave a shop without fucking picking up a comic book. 4th printing. Still, this was like literally on the fucking the new Marvel release shelves, and this was like literally 2 months ago. So I already can tell, even though this may not be my style, there's something here that people have attached themselves to. And I mean, I'm skimming through, like, the art style may not be something that I'm used to, but what I like about it too is just like, hey, I don't mean to be disrespectful, and yes, I may have down, some tequila while in the last hour.
Jesus,
I don't give a shit about what's happening in X-Men right now, the mainline X-Men. I'm sorry, I think after Fall of X, Marvel should have taken a break. This is not attached to the mainline universe. So now, like, I'm kind of more interested in checking out, all right, Peach Momoko, this is something fresh, this is something new. Let me see what you're cooking over here. So after this, I'm going to read it. And hopefully that's the case for, all you guys. I know some of you guys are not reading Black Panther. Hopefully now,
you
guys
read all of them.
Yeah. So, and I think when we do reconvene, in like a month or two, and we start doing this monthly, I think what I would hope is that we all have a different appreciation, but at the same time, like Ben said, at least 1 or 2 of us will be like the experts in one. We can fill in the gaps here and there. Because I wasn't reading Ultimates, but now after Ben just told me almost everything, I want to go back and read because this is some heat.
I purposefully left out certain things.
Oh, you're the best.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's a good thing. So we did leave a lot of stuff out.
Yes.
We really talked about 1, 2,
the general,
and even with
the general
Invasion,
picture of what Ultimates
go over
is,
everything in detail.
The general picture of what Ultimates looks like right now is that it is a bringing the band back together or awakening the band for the first time, so to speak.
So
each
us.
Issue, yes, us. So each issue, you kind of get the emergence of a new hero. The Ultimates are recruiting a different hero.
So it's like that's what I want about the Ultimate Universe is how just not crazy things are, but how familiar yet different everything is. Whereas before the Ultimate Universe, when they had like the original run of Ultimate Spider-Man, it was just okay. It's just an alternate universe. Here's some character redesigns. Here's the lizard, but it's still the lizard, but he's bigger like a lizard. Oh, Green Goblin's actually a goblin. It's like, all right, that's cool and all, but like it's still Spider-Man. It's still Peter
Right.
Parker. It's still the same. They just new character designs. This is new characters, new attitudes, new personalities, new backstories. Like this is the longest we've seen Ben Parker alive in a comic book run. Like J. Jonah Jameson is a nice guy who gives kids his own autobiography for their birthday.
That was
Yeah.
so wholesome.
So
That
good.
was so cute.
So good.
Yeah. Like it was like, who's this J. Jonah Jameson? Like, what?
All
He's
he needed
not
was
like
for
the one
Ben
time he's
Parker to not
yelling is
die.
because he's yelling for something good and quits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Who would have thought this whole entire time?
and that's what I love about this, and I think we mentioned it earlier. It's just like it's always keeping you on your fucking toes. Like it's cool, but it's also scary at the same time because
Yeah.
I forgot somebody posted on the timeline like 2 days ago. It was like, yo, protect Ben, Uncle Ben, and Jameson. Because, like, let's be honest, yo, both of them brothers are playing with fire right now.
That's right.
They're playing with fire. Because,
Mhm.
listen, when I did the reread, because I just finished the issue where Spider-Man and Green Goblin just busted up in Fisk's place. And he said, hey, guys, I've been watching you for like a good couple days now. Like, I seen you on the cameras. Who's to say this motherfucker didn't see what Robbie just did? And then who's to say that's not going to lead to Ben and Jonah, getting their wigs blown off? I hope that's not the case. But again, it's keeping you on. They
literally just started a competing paper.
Like it's that's what's getting me scared about this whole universe. Like I ain't gonna hold you. This is gonna be a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm kind of waiting to see when Black Panther and Storm are gonna fuck. It's bound. Is it gonna happen? Is it not gonna happen? It's just like I don't even want to know what the possibilities for Ultimate X-Men are because we haven't even been reading. So what's happening on that front too that we also have to be on our toes about?
Yeah.
So that's
it's my understanding from Ultimate X-Men that the issues that happened with Ultimate Invasion where like the Ultimates are terrorists, blah 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 blah, that's happening in the background, and it's in Ultimate X-Men basically features characters that are just sort of like they're like, I don't want to hear about the politics that are on TV. Okay, so let's hear. But I don't know really anything about the individual characters, and I'm looking forward to now that we're actually going to be doing this. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a fun venture, and honestly, it's a hope and a fear. Hear me out. I hope that Marvel sees what's happening here with the Ultimate Universe. They see the reception. They see us talking about it. And they don't do a repeat of what happened with X-Men.